Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. Today is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. So that means we're nearing the end of the first month of the new year. Our topic today is tied to that timing aspect, but just as we think forward from this point, finishing up the year, which there's lots of time left, the question I have for each of you is, are you running your branch like a business? So unless you're just a prospect visiting with us today, which you're welcome to, if you've come aboard, you've most likely signed up here at the bottom of Chapman Loan Program and became a branch office, the Opportunity Fund. Let's have some discussion and exchange today about running your branch like a business, because I feel that some of you aren't. And so that's not critical, but let's talk about what it would be to run our branch like a business, how it might change what we do and how we think. As I planned for today's discussion, I wanted an analogy. So I came up with this one, and if you don't like it, it's okay, but just kind of play along. Let's say that you and I weren't working together in this capacity, and you were looking at buying into a business. We'll call it a franchise. And of course, we're not a franchise model, but that's the easiest analogy. And so I was thinking about what should we use as an example, whether it be like Domino's Pizza, which I've talked about before, or McDonald's. But I thought, let's go with Subway. Pretty much everyone, whether you like it or not, has eaten at a Subway sandwich shop. I think they have more restaurants than any other restaurant in the United States. Not sure about that, but there's lots of Subway. So we could all imagine, even if we don't want to do so, we can imagine, what would it be like if we decided to go buy into Subway and open our own Subway sandwich shop? So completely different industry, different model. It's franchise where ours is license based. But let's just start thinking about that. So what would you do before you decided to buy into a Subway sandwich shop? So we're assuming that we're not buying an existing one, we're going to Subway corporate. We've decided that in our town or in some given town, there's an opportunity, a need for one. So there's not one there already. What's the first thing that you would do before you decided if you wanted to buy into Subway? So let's go ahead and put your answer into the Q&A. Q&A is like a chat box of Zoom. Before you made the decision to sign up and send any money to Subway corporate, what would you do first? So Andrew, Bernard, Charles, David, got several Davids, Eric, Gary, Herman, Jeanette, Kenya. I want all of you to tell me, what would you do before you decided to buy into Subway? What's the first thing that you would do? You wouldn't just wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to buy a Subway franchise and just do it immediately, right? That's it's too big of a deal, right? Because there's some big agreement you're signing and there's lots of money involved. So I'm just looking for your feedback. How would you evaluate if you wanted to start a Subway sandwich shop either in your town or some other town? So Lanita, looking for your answer. Larry, Madison, Marilyn, Pauline, Peter, Celino, Terrence, Toyley, Trevor, got lots of you on. What would you do before? So you got this kind of idea, maybe I'd like to own a Subway, but what would come next before you just sent them money? Well, we got lots of different answers. So thank you, Jeanette, Marilyn, Eric, and others. I think the first thing you'd want to do is understand, and it's what Celino just said. Thank you, Celino. You'd want to research what would it mean to own a Subway sandwich shop? What does that really involve? And so we're going to keep drawing analogies. So that Subway, you would probably get information from them, and you could also do some market research. But from your and my perspective, you are a branch, most of you. So, what's the research that most likely that you've done in deciding if you wanted to become a branch? Well, what's really great is you can go to chapmanloanprogram.org, which is a shared, which is the screen shared now, and pretty much, maybe not everything, but pretty much everything that you could need to know is here. It's not like hidden. You don't have to send some deposit. You don't have to pass some background check. It's here, right? So you're able to see what we do. You can see our enrollment process. In other words, how we bring clients on. You can see a copy of the sample client agreement, which of course you can change. You can see the comparison training. You can see all these resources that are down here, press release. You can see the PowerPoint of what we teach, which is a major way that we generate clients, success stories, and then, of course, how to actually become a branch. So our approach is unique. You don't have to jump through some hoops to get information to do the research. It's here. Now, if you've already become a branch, I think it's incredibly important to be very familiar with everything that's on this page. Now, I realize that everything on this page is branded to us, but what happened, past tense, when you became a branch? We should have provided you, and if not, let us know and we'll get it to you. You can call us or email us, but we should have provided you editable versions of the documents that we use. So in other words, our recipes, I guess, is the best analogy. So you should have a copy of the client agreement. You should have a copy of this comparison sheet, which is talked about in this video. You should have a copy of the press release. You should have a editable copy of the PowerPoint. So if you didn't diligently research what we do before you signed up, it's incredibly important that you do that now. I mean, I would think that you would want to know everything that's on this page. I had one of our branches this morning emailed or text, I forget which it was, hey, how do I get on the Zoom? And that's fine, I provided that. But guess what? It's right here. So if you are, so our topic today is running your branch like a business. What I'm trying to the first point I'm trying to bring forth is that if you're not really intimately familiar with everything that's on this page, I don't think you're running your branch like a business, because this tells our story. Different than Subway, where you have to sign some NDA, non-disclosure, send them some money, then they send the franchise packet. We put it all out there. It's all transparent. There's no passwords. There's no gatekeeping. So point number one is, if you are a branch owner currently and you don't intimately, thoroughly know everything that's on this page, you probably should, or you're not running your business, your branch like a business. Make sense? So that's where we're starting, which is understanding what we do. All right. Because how can you run a business, whether it's Subway or something else, if you really don't understand what we do? Here is where you can learn it. And then if you decide to become a branch, which you may or may not decide to, then we'll send you editable versions of all this. It doesn't change what we do. It just allows you to use your own branding. Make sense? All right, so let's go back to the Subway analogy. So if we're thinking about maybe buying into a Subway franchise, we've agreed the first thing we want to do is some research, understand what it looks like. Now, we'd also want to understand, what does it cost? What is my cost to open a Subway franchise? Well, I did a little bit of research this morning in preparation for our discussion, and I haven't validated this, but I believe it to be true. If I'm off, forgive me. But I believe that there is a franchise fee to Subway that would cost between $10,000 and $15,000. That's what my research shows. So now there's other cost of getting that Subway shop open, of course, but just to have the ability to own and operate a Subway franchise, 10 to 15,000 is what my research shows. Let's draw the analogy to being a branch with us. Well, we're not a franchise, but we do have a license, and each of you who have come aboard as a branch office, most likely through this link, you read and signed the license agreement. There is a license fee. But you know what we said? You don't need to pay the license fee. We will defer that license fee forever, forever, as long as you're active. So that's like going to Subway and Subway saying to you, you know what, Sonia, there is a $10,000 or $15,000 franchise fee to open a Subway. But if you sell enough sandwiches, we'll defer that. That's a great deal. It's eliminated the barrier to entry because the upfront cost, normally 10 to 15,000 to start a Subway, in our model would be waived or deferred. So each of you know there is a license fee to be a branch office, right? You know that because you read the agreement, you signed the agreement, and what you saw is we said, hey, we'll defer that forever as long as you come aboard, and after a 30-day grace period, we help at least 8 clients a month, 2 a week. So sell 8 sandwiches a month. I guess that's a bad analogy. So most business models have an upfront cost. McDonald's, Domino's, Subway, so forth. In our model, the license fee is deferred. So that's great because we have confidence that if you'll engage, you'll be successful. Now, are there other overhead costs of starting a Subway? Absolutely, because Subway is a restaurant, right? So you have to go either buy a building or lease space and build it out, get equipment and signage and inventory. According to Subway's website, you're at about $100,000 to get that Subway open on average. Again, their website, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, doesn't really matter, but a big chunk of change. Well, in contrast, to become a branch with us, what's the overhead cost? I think it's $500, right? There's a setup fee just for us to get you set up and trained. But other than that, it's zero. So that's a dramatic difference of Subway versus our model, but of course, different industries. But maybe what's most important is looking at profit, because we covered in a prior training. What's the number one goal of any business? Generating profit. That should be the goal, generating profit. Well, where do you think you can generate more profit? Do you think you can generate more profit operating a Subway sandwich shop, which has a lot of upfront and overhead cost, or us working together in the branch capacity? Well, again, according to Subway's information, their information, not mine, you would anticipate around a 20% profit margin if you owned a Subway, and anticipate around $150,000 annual profit. Well, how does that compare to what you and I are doing together? Well, you know you have a 50% profit margin, right? Because we split the revenue 50-50 and we do all the work. So that would be like you getting a Subway sandwich shop, and you didn't have to get space, buy equipment, buy inventory. You don't have to do any of that. And you don't even have to buy the employees. We're providing everything. We're providing the employees to do the work. So with Subway, they say you would anticipate around a 20% profit margin. We know your profit margin is 50 here. And then annual profit, Subway says expect around 150,000. Well, what will your profit be as a branch? Well, it's all dependent upon your volume. What we know is that we would like to help on average a client a day, but that's a goal, that's an ambition. Let's bring it down just to the 2 a week, which is what you promised to do, 8 a month. So if 8 a month is paying 2,500, that's 20,000 a month. You get half, we get half, we do all the work. And then there's the performance fee on the back end. You decide what that is. But on average, between the front and the back, you're making around $20,000 per client. Well, as long as we're just doing the 8 a month, you're actually making more in a month as a branch than you would anticipate profit-wise a year of owning a Subway. So I'll stop with that analogy because I realize it's very different. But if you were to buy a Subway, you would pay attention to it. When you got up in the morning, it wouldn't be at the back of your mind, it'd be at the front of your mind. Like, what do I need to do? Even if you hired a manager and you had staff and you didn't have to go in and work it, you wouldn't just think about it once in a while. It wouldn't be a hobby, it wouldn't be a dabbling. And I feel like that's what a lot of you are approaching this branch role. We have a significant problem that we're solving. Most small businesses need funding, but you and I are not a bank, we're not a lender, we're not a loan broker even. We're even more valuable. We're the technical advisors. We help small businesses become fundable, because if they're not fundable, there is no funding. So what we do is needed, it's unique, and it's valuable. And the scope of services that we provide, and I'm happy to debate this with you if you'd like, is unquestionable, right? You could talk to an accountant, you could talk to an attorney, you could talk to a banker. I don't think you would find anyone that would say, no, this isn't right. This is right. This is what it takes to have a fundable business, and you and I provide it in a packaged way. So let's start going into kind of the bullets of, if you were to treat your branch like a business, what should you be doing? Because it's your decision, right? You signed up. You've made the decision to be a branch. So my job is, and our job is to support, train, and assist you. But it's up to you. But the first thing I would say is, number one, understand what we do. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to go dig through a million different trainings. Really, just if you understand what's on this website, you've got 99% of it down. So let me go ahead and ask you, and I won't quote individual names, how many of you believe that you've diligently gone through everything on the Chapman site, so you understand it inside and out? Like, again, you would if you bought a Subway franchise. You would understand that operating manual from beginning to end. How many of you feel that you can honestly say that you have studied, you've learned everything that's on this resource page? I'm going to give you a moment to respond. Because my hunch is it's a small number of you. I think many of you signed up without an understanding of how big of an opportunity this is for you and your family and for income. And I think many of you are treating this like a hobby. Now, this doesn't have to be full-time. None of this is talking about full-time versus part-time. We're just simply talking about, are you fully engaged? All right, so if you understand what we're doing together, that's half the battle. Now we need to turn around and talk about how we apply that to your branch. I would suggest that a successful business has a business plan, a written business plan. I don't think anyone would argue that a written business plan is valuable and important. So how many of you, not to put you on the spot, but I guess I'm putting you on the spot, how many of you have a written business plan for this business that we're doing together? So not talking about other things that you do. How many of you have a written business plan that outlines who our target audience is, how we're going to reach them, what our projected revenue and expenses are? How many of you have a written business plan for your branch? Does anyone? So what does that mean if you don't? Then you're not treating this like the opportunity that it is. And you're not probably taking it as serious as you should. Now, many of you have some interim goals, but I'm talking about a full business plan, and we're more than happy to help you develop a business plan for this. But my question is, are you treating this like a business? Because I have some of you that sign up and then you don't make much money and you become disgruntled. And then we look at it and we talk about it and we realize you're not running it like a business. And so there's something missing. And if there's something that we need to do different or better, of course, let us know. But I think commonly what's missing is you are not running your branch like a business. If you were the CEO of some other business running it the way you're running your branch, I think many of you would be replaced. I think you'd be fired and they would hire someone else to come run this 6 or 7 figure annual income business. That's what I would think. So, not to criticize, but what can we do to get you to where you need to be? We need to run our branch like a business. We need to treat it seriously. It's okay if you're working part-time. This is not about preaching full-time or nothing, not at all. But if we are treating this like a business, we have daily focus. Every day we're thinking, how would you own a Subway and not at least think about it, even if you had employees? I don't think it's possible, right? It's too big of a deal. So I think some of you think about being a branch sometimes and not other times. Or as some of you that sign up, so you've gone to the website, you sign up, you plug in, and then you make up excuses. Well, yeah, maybe later. Well, I mean, time's ticking, right? There's people that need help. Your branch should be generating revenue. You have your license fee that's deferred subject to production. That's a horrible way to run a business. So if you don't have the acumen or the bandwidth to run a business, you need to probably hire someone to come run it for you if you're not the right person. You can be the owner of a business and not be the CEO, not be running it. So we need to first know what our business does, and we make it pretty simple, again, by reviewing this information on this page because we provide you editable versions of that. Secondly, we need to have a business plan. I'm just going to go straight out and just say you should have a business plan. If you need help, we can help you create a business plan. Again, what's a business plan? It identifies who we are and what we do and how we're going to do it. It identifies our monthly goals, our projected profitability. Who's our target audience? I think some of you, and again, this is not about criticism, it's just constructive discussion. I think some of you lack clarity of who your target audience is. Because to say everyone is my target audience is horrible. You're never going to reach everyone. That's unrealistic. That's lazy. We need to identify who is our target audience. I forget who it is. I think it's, well, we got Richard on here, and he's the CEO of a chamber. So we know who Richard's target audience is, chamber members, right? Easy for Richard. But I was trying to scroll down and see who it was. I think it was Justin, but I may be wrong. Justin targets newly formed businesses, right? Because it's public information. So if I have this right, it's Justin. He's getting a list of newly formed businesses every month, and he's aggressively reaching out to those newly formed businesses. He has a targeted audience. He knows who his audience is. Then we have, I think it was Eric, that's focused on BNI alone. We've talked about BNI. So Eric has set everything else aside and just said, hey, I'm just going to go to BNI meetings, network with the BNI people, and just get referrals from that. That's fine. So Eric's target audience is referrals from BNI. But I think some of you are lacking a target audience. Well, how in the world are you going to reach a target audience if you don't even know who your target audience is? You're not going to just find them. You need to identify who they are. Then we can determine how to reach them. So first we said we need to understand what the hell we're doing, and that's easily done here on chapmanloanprogram.org. You should have the editable versions of all the resources. We should have provided that to you. And if you don't have that, then let us know, and we'll definitely get it to you. We need to have a plan, a business plan, and the business plan should also have monthly incremental goals. So we're finishing up January, going into February. So for January, did you enroll the number of clients that you expected to? Did you generate the profit? And profit comes both from the front end and the back end. as we look at February? Do we need to kind of revise our February goals based upon, because it's okay for a plan to evolve, to be live and vibrant. It may change as we have input and experiences, but no plan equals a prayer more than a plan. We need to have a plan. We need to have a written plan, and it needs to be, my last point on your business is, it needs to be profitable. There's no, you all are so smart and motivated, it makes no sense for you to be involved with something that's not profitable. If we're going to own a business, it needs to be profitable. And so look at your branch. Start by looking at your bank account, because obviously a well-ran business has a standalone bank account. Go look at your bank account for your branch. Now, I realize it runs on a calendar basis, and you probably won't get that till tomorrow because today's the last day of January. But as of tomorrow, you could go look at your January bank account. Did your branch generate the income that you expected, that you need, that you deserve? And if not, we need to do something different. Maybe it's getting more familiar with what we do. Maybe it's getting a written plan. Maybe it's treating your branch like a business. Now, some of you come into this with a really tight budget, so that's okay. So you don't hear me preaching about, oh, you need to go hire staff, or you need to go get offices, or you need to go have some exotic website. Nothing that we're talking about is labor intensive. It's just intellectually intensive. Are you focused on this? Because if you are, you're going to recognize the income that some of our top producers are. But some of you are generating zero income. And I think that's because either you don't know what we do, you don't have a plan, or you're just simply not treating your branch like a business. And again, no one wants to be fired, but I would simply say, if you're not able to run this branch properly, then bring someone in that can run it for you, because maybe you need to fire yourself if you're not willing to step up to the plate. So that's enough of my rant. So I'm here to answer your questions. So on this topic, what do you need from us so you can run your branch like a business? So the month of February is profitable. So you have a written business plan. So you have an identified target audience. What do you need from us? So this is the time that you, Andrew, and Bernard, and Charles, and David, and Eric, and Ernest, and Felicia, and Herman, and Jeanette, and Justin, and Kenya, Lanita, Larry, Madison, Maryland. We have 324 of you, so I won't say all names, but what is it that you're needing? Because I think there's a checklist from your side. And the checklist from your side starts with, do you know the product? And frankly, I think you can know the product very, very well just by studying what's on this website. Secondly, do you have a business plan, a written business plan? If not, get with us and we will help you develop a written business plan. Is your branch profitable? If not, we need to get it profitable. Now, what Timothy's old reliable here. So Timothy brings up that he needs capital to operate his branch properly. And I respect that. So there are a couple ways that we can get money for the branch. Really, three ways. There is an equity injection, which means you, as an investor or someone else, puts money into it. The second would be debt. We go borrow money to put into it. Or the third, which I'm a big advocate for, is we earn income, right? We operate the branch. We enroll clients. We make money. So the way for your branch to not be broke, for the branch owners to not be broke, is to operate the branch. And certainly, if you want to go borrow money and take on debt for your branch, we can assist you in doing that, of course, but I don't think it's necessary. We need to operate the branch. Even if we need to bootstrap it in the beginning, start enrolling clients. Start having a functional business. A branch that doesn't enroll any clients is called a zombie business. It's there in name only. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of our time. And there's no reason for that. All right, so we're about to the bottom of the hour. if you need anything, let us know. Reach out. We should have weekly one-on-one calls. If you're not having weekly one-on-one calls, let's fix that. Use Calendar. I was talking to one of our branches this morning. She texted me in the middle of the night last night, urgent. Well, wonderful woman, smart woman. She missed our prior calls because life happens, doesn't have a new scheduled call. But frankly, the epiphany hit her in the middle of the night. This is a big deal. And we need to be focused on this as a business. So are you focused on your branch as a business? If not, we need to help you. So again, you can call us, you can text us, you can email us, but most importantly, let's schedule those weekly calls and make sure that we're on track. Make sure your clients are on track. Make sure your business is profitable. So with that being said, let's run our branch like a business. Let me know what assistance you need, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Thanks. Bye-bye.